everyone, my name is Ross Gray.
And I'm Ryan Bourne.
And this is the Social Skim brought to you by Cloud Campaign. So this was a relatively slow week in social media news. We only have 3 stories that we're covering today. And the first one is that Facebook has acquired Bloomsbury AI. Do you have any idea what this is, Ryan?
I don't, although I bet you I could guess.
What is your guess?
I'm guessing this is a bit of an extension from the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal. And I know Facebook has been making a large push towards fighting fake news. So I'm guessing they're going to leverage Bloomsbury's software for that.
That is correct. So Bloomsbury AI is basically natural processing research. So it can scan through the various feeds and try and weed out anything that they would deem to be fake news. So they have acquired the company. They didn't give out numbers, but they said, it's been reported that it was between $23 to $30 million. And they've also brought on the team as well to help in this venture of fighting fake news.
I know that was like a big push from the congressional hearings. I know they're really putting Mark on the spot in terms of who was going to own really the filtering of media, whether or not Facebook was the right ownership to actually take care and manage the news and decide what can be shown or what can't be, or if it was going to be moved, to more established government authorities. So I know Facebook kind of has some fire under them to make sure that they're moving in the right direction, and they're trying to implement tools that can do a better job of this. So I'm not too surprised to hear this.
Yeah, and it actually plays directly into our next story, which is that Facebook announced that they're tightening some API restrictions. Now, a lot of them were just because they weren't used very much, is pretty much what they said. But there's a few in here that are directly related to exactly what you just talked about. They reference the fact that, in the Cambridge Analytica scandal, 120 million users had their data leaked, and that was by, a third party. So they're trying to tighten restrictions on them.
I think it comes back to ultimately just protecting the end user, and also with GDPR coming out, tightening restrictions just recently here. I think it does make sense that Facebook is trying to also protect users' data.
And they didn't go into too much about exactly taking away functionality that some people may have gotten used to. It was more of just increasing the difficulty in actually acquiring the keys to those APIs.
Yeah, one big change that I did see, though, is Facebook is actually removing the ability for publishing tools to publish on behalf of individuals.
Interesting.
Which is going to have huge effects. So many people use these scheduling tools, not only for their business accounts, but for their personal accounts to be, a thought leader. And with Facebook removing that, I'm curious to see if more people are going to move towards Twitter or LinkedIn or other platforms because of it.
I mean, it seems like some of those are following suit as well, right? Like Twitter just released that transparency center we discussed last week. It seems like everyone's kind of moving in the same direction.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a transition time for social media, and I think these next 6 months will really be telling.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next story is that Facebook has added Stories Archive. There's obviously the Stories function has gotten more and more popular, especially on Instagram. But if you're a brand, coming up with these stories can be very time consuming. As we know, content curation is very time consuming. So they have made it so now that you can store them and reuse them over and over and over again.
Is that similar to Instagram, where it will show up on the profile and someone can click on it and you have like your curated stories that are archived, or is it more for yourself and it's like hidden somewhere but you can reuse it?
It's not visible to anyone else, so that you can just keep posting it and reusing it, but it will not live live on your platform unless you tell it to do so.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting. I mean, it's definitely a large move away from what stories were previously. Initially stories were just ephemeral content, sort of spur of the moment, and then it became more where you can kind of record something and share a story that was pre-recorded or from your gallery. Now they're even allowing you to save it. So I feel like I don't know, it's interesting. I don't really know what to make of it, but it's definitely a move away from the initial use of stories.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for brands. We're seeing more and more recycling of content because of the algorithm changes, and this is just another way of doing that. Anyway, our next story is that Instagram has released all caught up notifications, which basically, because of the new algorithm changes and the fact that the feed is not chronological, users don't necessarily know when they have seen everything that there is to see. And so now you will get a notification that says that you are all caught up.
I love this. As a user, this is amazing for me.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, like back when Instagram had the chronological feed, I would just scroll until I saw a post I'd seen before, and then I'd close the app and I'd be done. Now, I feel like I even, without this all cut up feature, I feel like I scrolled Instagram even less because it was just, I just knew it was going to be a time suck. I never knew like when I had seen everything, so I would just scroll a few posts and then stop. And so I feel like this will actually encourage people to stay on Instagram a bit longer, which is ultimately the goal.
Yeah, the CEO released a statement that said, "We're building tools that will help the Instagram community know more about the time they spend on Instagram. Any time should be positive and intentional. Understanding how time online impacts people is important, and it's the responsibility of all the companies to be honest about this. We want to be part of the solution. I take responsibility seriously." So yeah, I mean, exactly what you said. They're just trying to make sure that the time you spend on there is time well spent in that sense, if that's what you're looking to do, and also that you are aware of exactly what you're looking at.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm all in favor of that for sure.
Yeah, that's actually it for this week. It was a relatively slow week, so be sure to tune in every Tuesday for the most up-to-date social media news. Find us on iTunes and wherever else podcasts live.
And head over to iTunes, leave us a review if you enjoyed it. Even if you didn't, please, let us know how we can improve it moving forward. I hope to see you guys next week.
Thank you so much.